I, you know what it is. Welcome back. Welcome back. For any that are back, if any are back, because you know what happened in the last one. They got a little bit violent. Hopefully it don't. Hopefully it don't get as bad as that no more. I told you in my head it was getting. It was a little bit worse. So I tried to numb it a little bit, but I don't think anything else is going. I don't think anything else warrants a what's it called, a content warning. I think everything else I got in here should be fine and relevant, at least for the story. Either way, right? Cops pull up to the scene, firemen, all that. They do an investigation. They try and find out what happened. They find out that this is a gas leak. Gas was around. Maybe somebody's decided to smoke something. Something happened. Explosions. We got 3 dead bodies. For the cops, because one of these bodies is supposed to be correctless anyway, and also because, on some investigative activities, right? They got to do their job, right? They know it's supposed to be a woman and her son here, right? Though the son a little bit taller than the normal age, but they looking at the situation. They gonna do their job, right? They're not gonna do their job well, but they're gonna do their job. Izuku, cutting over to him, who has been walking this whole time, right, is continuing to walk. Thinking about everything he's done been through, thinking about all the people he's done met. He don't got nowhere to go. He don't know nobody for real. Nobody that would take him in. Nobody that would help him in his declaration of war on the world. But at the same time, he can't be here, so he continues to walk. He's also lost the ability to think, at least for the moment. He can't think about anything right now. Every time he's trying to think, he starts thinking about his mom. And then once he starts thinking about his mom, then he starts thinking about what happened. Then he started thinking about the revenge again. He's in a cycle right now of just straight anger. And this anger lasted for 3 days. He has been walking, starving, and has had no water for 3 days. Everybody on the street that he passed, obviously, that he dirtied up, smolders on his feet, a huge scar on his back, right? People probably done called the cops about it. And people have probably, called heroes about it, because it's not like he's actively doing anything. He's not going to be in the area when they get to the area. Nobody's following him around reporting them. It's just certain people that might have decided to say something to somebody. Either way, right? He successfully, unintentionally, but successfully avoided all presence of officers or heroes, and has continued to walk around until he gets to a bad part of the neighborhood, right? It's not a terrible location necessarily. It's just a location where good people aren't normally. On his 3rd day at night, or as the sun's going down, he's looking around, starving, dehydrated, everything in the books, all of it. He looking around, he see a kid around his age probably, right, with some woman, this kid over here, carrying groceries and stuff, right? He started thinking back to his mom, or you think about when he was holding groceries for his mom. He passed out in front of him. Now I should probably mention, right? Let's cut away from Izuku real quick. I feel like that's how they would do this in stories, right? Once you see the situation that he's going through, especially after a pass out scene, you can't just go straight back to him waking up. We gotta talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Bakugo for a minute, right? I know y'all probably don't mess with Bakugo, especially after what had happened, but it's been 3 days. At this point of the setting, Bakugo would be at Izuku and Inko's funeral, because the officers think those 3 bodies is whoever was, breaking and entering, Izuku and his mother. That's how bad they was burned. So they got Izuku they got a random individual buried in Izuku's place next to his mom. If y'all thought I was going to stop hoeing him, If y'all thought I was gonna stop, y'all were wrong. It's just not as bad as it was before. But I'm not stopping until he's a villain for real, for real. Anyway, Bakugo at the funeral. Obviously, he ain't got no recollection of what any of this is supposed to. What he's not mentally. He wasn't mentally prepared for this at all. All right, he may not have liked Izuku all the way. He wasn't necessarily. He didn't know that this was how it was going to end for him. You know. Now he over here dealing with mental images of Izuku back when they was younger, back when things were nicer, before people started thinking about quirks. He over here thinking about jumping him right. That was his last situation with him. You know, it's like the memories of everything they've been through, from childhood friends to kind of frenemies to, you know, quote unquote rivals, because Izuku wasn't gonna take no bull BS from Bakugo at times. Only to then be on some bully stuff. And Bakugo, he gotta take that. He gotta sit with that in his chest. That my last interaction with this man was me jumping him, talking about he can be a hero to his moms and shit. He ain't gonna tell nobody else that. That's something that he gotta deal with. But it does give him a little bit of a perspective. What if he was born with a quirk? What if he wasn't bullying him? What if he wasn't being bullied as heavily as he was? What if he did make it a UA as a quirkless, as a quirkless nobody? That's all he has. He may not have been friends with Izuku, but his parents were still very close to Inko, even though they had recently drifted apart. They were close to him, or to her, and they still had love for Izuku, even though they didn't necessarily think that he was worth anything. They didn't think, but they was like, I mean, it serves as a reminder to them that at the very least their son's not quirkless, right? Because that's all it's seen as quirkless. If you quirkless, then you might as well, for real, swan dive. You feel me? But I digress. It's a very mournful day, especially where it's at, right? It's raining at his funeral, right? Well, at their funeral. They don't know where the third guy was at. You know, that's about as much as I'm gonna talk about Bakugo for now. We'll get back to Bakugo eventually, but I just thought I should, talk about the after effects of what's going on with Izuku, with his quote unquote social life, because he didn't have nobody anyway. Izuku wake up in a bed when he does wake up. He got food next to him. Food, water. He got a roof over his head. He ain't had this since 1960. No, I'm joking. But yeah. Yes. He ain't had this in a minute. He missed this. This was there. Say, he is grateful for this shit. He grateful that this still exists. But yeah, he eating, scarfing the food down, swallowing the water whole. He ain't ate in 3 days. I mean, come on now. My boy was that brother starving. That brother starving. I might just be the worst storyteller for everybody involved. Respectfully, that brother starving. I'm over here throwing memes and shit in here. That's just goodness gracious, nigga. But yeah. As he eating the food, somebody opened the door. Right. Door was closed, so and they was being loud too. It's talking out loud and shit. They was like, yeah, man. I swear you gonna owe me on me. I swear. He turned around, he see Izuku up. He like, oh, he like, he get quiet. Izuku looking at him, right? He been looking at him this whole time though, right? He got orange hair, like lighter blue eyes, like cyanish, kind of, right? On some, they're not glowing or anything, but they kind of feel like they glowing naturally. Either way, they look at each other right? Ain't nobody saying nothing. So, I mean, it's kind of some noise outside the room door that's leaking in, but not necessarily, not really. So Izuku keep eating. You know, he got some food in him. You know, he's like, I bet ain't nobody saying nothing to me. Dude closed the door. He like, dang, I didn't know you be up yet. You know, you ain't ate in 3 days, apparently. I didn't know that's what was going on with you at first, right? Dude actively looking for a conversation. Izuku don't want to have no conversation with him. All right, not a single ounce of conversation. Not with him. So he paying attention to him though. You know, obviously he just observing this dude. But he still don't want to talk to him. He don't know this dude. And he's like, yeah, man, as dude was looking at him, right, waiting for a response, he was like, yeah, you know, on some awkward stuff. He's like, yeah, we brought you back here, and the nurses they was checking you out, said you ain't ate in 3 days, and you know they didn't know you. If it was lucky that we got you here when we did, because you know that might have been your last rest, maybe, you know. So still ain't saying nothing to him. It was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, well, and you know, we put you up in here. We got you some. Obviously, we made you drink some water so that you know, be a little bit more hydrated and able to continue. That's what nurse said. You know, we be calling her nurse, but her real name is Tamala, and she's just getting this eerie feeling off of Izuku, where it's like, it's like he wouldn't normally expect this type of behavior from somebody who was damn near just saved. His whole life was just saved, respectfully. So he don't know what's going on. He's kind of cautious, but he also feels like he needs to continue to talk to him, right? He needs to talk to him and make him feel at home. That's what he's going for right now. He was like, my bad, man. I'm Kai. That's my name. You know, I got a wing quirk, and I can rotate the air around me sometimes. You know, I'm not really good at it. It's not a strong quirk or anything, but you know, it's something. You know, what's your name? And if you got a quirk, what's good? You know, he trying to icebreakers to the conversation, right? Every tactical conversation piece he's ever had, Izuku been shutting down. So he started off with the basics, right? What's your name? What's your quirk? What's going on? What's happening, right? This only pissing Izuku off because this is the same as everybody else. Izuku like, but at the same time, now that he has had some food and water and rest, he's thinking a little bit more rational, right? He don't fuck with bro, but at the same time, he can talk to him a little bit. Just he not gonna answer none of his questions, but he could talk to him a little bit. It's like, yo, you say your name was Kai? And he was like, yeah, I'm Kai. Like, you know, I got a air rotation, and he cuts him off. He's like, where am I? And he was like, you at an orphanage. He was like, the place I didn't want to be. All right. He was like, oh, okay, bet it up. You feel me? Like, oh, for real. That's the one place I didn't want to be at. You feel me? But obviously Izuku don't say that. But you know, he is thinking it. And he like kinda like, yeah, you know, yeah, in you know, he like, what in your name? Where, you know, what you got going on? Why was you out there for so long? What happened to you? And Izuku like, so they like, what, they took my blood or something? Like y'all know who I am? Or he was like, nah, we ain't got none of that. It's an orphanage, bro. Like, I mean, I'm sure we could look around. I mean, the information is free, of course, right? He was like, oh yeah, for sure. And this conversation dry as fuck. And the Kai is not understanding. He's normally a people person. He's normally just regular with his people activity. He's just not understanding why bro is so dry with him. He ain't answered a single question. Even when Kai has answered some of his, he don't understand what's going on, right? So he like, yo, you good, man? Like, I can get you some more food or something. And he was like, nah, it's cool, right? He stand up. He said, I'm about to go. He was like, you about to go, right? Obviously, they done got him out of those dirty clothes, and motherfucker ain't got nothing but like pajama pants on, and they barely fit him because it's an underpaid orphanage. We being 100, but still, right? He was like, what you mean you about to go? You ain't got nowhere to go. I would assume. Obviously, I don't know you, but 3 days not having no food, I would assume you ain't got nowhere to go. And he was like, yep. Anyway, so you gonna show me where the exit is at, or I'm gonna have to find it myself. And it was like, you really planning on leaving right now? You just got food, you just got water, a bed to sleep in. You what? Why? What's the reason? You right? And he was like, the reason? It's my business. I do what I want. That's why. So obviously he assuming he also recognized he don't gotta explain nothing to this dude. This nigga is no one to him. So he about to leave, right? That's all he had to say to bro, right? This nigga Kai, he a little as Izuku had observed as well, right? Kai might be a little dumb, just a little slow, right? At the same time, it just is what he's observed, right? From their small conversation that Izuku wasn't participating in. Kai might be a little bit slow, walking into a room with somebody that's supposed to be asleep and resting extra loud and shit. It's some motion that Kai has done. So Izuku steady not trying to talk to his ass, right? He's just trying to leave. Kai grab him, is like, hell nah, you can't just leave. You gonna leave the orphanage? You just gonna leave the whole there's no reason. You have to give me a reason. He was like, I don't have to give you shit. I don't know you. Ripped his hand away from him, right? And he was like, but it doesn't make sense. If you have nothing, why not accept some people that are trying to give you something, right? Trying to give you a little bit of something, if it's not everything. And they're damn near arguing, right, about staying or not, right? Kai is intent on him not leaving for some reason. And Izuku, he don't know this nigga. He trying to leave, right? Obviously. Kai not as big as Izuku. Obviously, Izuku's been training for a while, right? He was training to be a hero. And also training in self-defense so that niggas wouldn't pick on him. But, Kai hasn't. Kai, what's it called? Kai is tall. He almost as tall? Izuku might have a little, like a couple inches on him or something. But he's near Izuku's height and all that. And he's kind of strong. He ain't been slacking or nothing. He decently strong. So they kind of like not wrestling, but they you gotta. Kai is adamant on an explanation because his actions don't make sense, at least to Kai. At the same time, Kai is kind of stupid, so we gotta go with we gotta take everything that motherfucker talking about with a grain of salt. During the conversation, Kai's like, "You must not have went through shit in your life for you to give up this. This is a silver platter, right?" Which pisses Izuku off. Izuku been going through everything, my nigga. Izuku just lost everything, so he bro up against the closet, right? Not the closet. It's like a wardrobe thing, right? Which make a lot of noise. They've been already making a lot of noise. They moving furniture in there, right? They was kind of moving furniture. They knocked over the table too, but the hemming them up against the wardrobe bumped into the wall and then hit the floor again. They got niggas scared outside, basically, right? They didn't know what's going on in here. And Izuku like, what do you know about what I've been through? Like, you don't know me. You don't know what I've been through at all. This is coming off of Kai's perspective of Izuku, right? Kai placed a perspective onto Izuku. And the fact that Izuku hadn't moved in the way that Kai expected, he wanted an explanation, especially because Izuku hadn't said anything to him the entire time, basically. Izuku don't know Kai at all. Not from left or right. Kai is another face in a faceless crowd of people. At the same time, he's making himself very noticeable. So it's like, because you're in my way now, I'm going to hurt you, basically, right? Because Izuku don't give a fuck about these niggas no more at all. Before anything else pop off, the door is open again. There's a couple large women. They a little bit taller than Izuku, basically. It's not like he's tall at all. Like he might be a fucking 5'10", 5'11". But yeah, they a little bit taller than him. They walk in, they like, what's going on? Why are you hurting him? We helped you, blah blah, all this other shit, right? They spitting off a whole lot of different things, right, and reasons for this not making sense, right? And Zuku let bro go. He looking at him, and all he hearing is the same shit he's always been hearing. Like it's like he's not even hearing what they're actually saying anymore for real. He's like in his mind is creating different things for what they was saying, what they could have been saying to him, because they have a similar expression to different people that have talked to him disrespectful. Like what are you doing here? Because just a whole bunch of just noise is polluting, and Zuku he feeling trapped. You don't even gotta answer to any of their questions. Kai stand up, cause they also hit him with that what's your quirk, cause obviously that's a number one thing, right? You gotta know that in a 90% world of quirk users, you just gotta know what you it's the same thing as it's the same thing as your name, basically, yo. Whatever your quirk is, it might as well be what your name is. And they continuing to talk to him, just talk down to him. Really, that's really what it is. They talking down to him for being aggressive, and being here and being aggressive is why they talking down to him. Kai stand up, right? He stand up, and he's like, he obviously got a strength quirk. He taking up for him. Zuko look over to him like, what the fuck, and the staff, they looking at him like, oh, he got a strength quirk. I guess that makes sense for his body build, right? Because dude is shirtless, right? He is shirtless. They didn't give him a shirt. They just gave him pajama pants, and he was going to leave with that because his shirt was ripped up, and he got a huge scar on his back. Whole lot, right? They didn't want to, like, irritate it. There was a whole lot of reasons why they didn't do this shit. Either way. And Kai, he take up for him a little bit more, talking about he provoked him. Right, so it's really his fault that they ended up like that. And the staff look at him, and they was like, that shit makes sense too. You do be talking a lot. And it's like Izuku looking at him like, why the fuck is this bro? Why is he taking up for me? We was just arguing about me leaving. I'm still gonna leave. All right, that's what he's thinking in his head. Like, I'm still gonna leave. This isn't making me stay. And other kids come into the room, specifically. Well, it seemed like to be the ringleader, right, of these kids that come in, right, is some black-haired girl, right? She got short hair, kind of like curly, but not a lot. It's curly at the ends. Either way, she got black hair, purplish eyes. She walked in. She seemed to be the head honcho of the group that just came in. We also got some shy dude that's looking at his phone a lot. He kind of glancing up though. He on some shy shit. And we got some white haired girl with red eyes. She also got a mask on, and like a nurse mask, like a doctor's mask, but it's all white. And she ain't really saying nothing about anything that happened either. Pretty apathetic. She looks pretty apathetic to what's going on. She don't care at all. And the staff, one of the staff ended up taking Kai away, talking about, you can't be like, you gotta let people grow to mess with you. You can't just embark your whole personality onto people as soon as you meet them. Because like, I know, right? As he gets hauled away, head honcho girl's like, yeah, don't worry about him. He's kind of dumb, but it's okay. We'll make sure that you ain't got nothing to worry about while you're here. And Izuku, seeing all these different people who are around, and then also remembering the encounter he just had when he said he was leaving, he was like, yeah, All right, you know, some of the other staff, they look around, they're like, oh, I'll get you some more food. Don't worry about it, basically. And he getting a little bit of service. He getting a little bit of respect, but they don't know him for real. They think he got a strength quirk on him. He don't. And he was gonna leave as other people were leaving, right? This is a whole ass orphanage, so it's kind of filled with kids. It's not a super funded orphanage, but it's still an orphanage, a whole ass orphanage, right? And yeah, right. He, he didn't think he was gonna be able to sneak through everybody, so he was just gonna he was gonna wait until everybody fell asleep and then leave, right? And at the same time, he is hungry, especially after that fight, so he gonna wait for that food, right? The main girl that I was talking about, is still there, talking to him about how it is here and how the kids are happy and all this other shit. Zuku decides to not talk to her, just like he decided to not talk to Kai because he doesn't know her. Eventually, the staff bring him some food, and as the staff leaves, Kai sneaks his way back in because Kai is dumb as fuck. But yeah, Kai comes in. He's like, "Yo, what's good, Madeline?" Hey, kid that never told me his name. You feel me? Because it was like it was like, and Melissa also like, why are you still provoking him? It was like, I lied about that shit before. He wasn't being aggressive. It was just he wanted to leave. And it was like, for what? I wasn't understanding why he wanted to leave so bad. Like, he wouldn't give me an answer, so shit got heated. And Izuku still just eating the food and shit. He ain't gotta explain himself to nobody. She like, oh, you trying to leave? It was like, yep. Is that gonna be a problem? It's like, nah, at least not by me. I'm not gonna fight you for it. And then she like, you got somewhere to go? And he started thinking about, his mom. He started getting angry again. But he continues to eat in silence, right? And Kai's like, see, that's what I'm talking. This is what I was dealing with. He wasn't talking to me for real. I don't know what's wrong with him. Madeline, she like, well, not everybody was like you, right, Kai? Izuku like, he get his interest get a little bit piqued. He like, what happened to Kai? Matilda, no, Madeline. She looked at him and was like, why does it matter? You're not gonna stay here. And Izuku like, all right, fuck it then. He don't care no more, right? Kai take it upon himself. He's like, it's my story. I get to tell whoever I want. Madeline, she's like, all right. And Kai was like, all right, so this is what happened. So basically, I'm not gonna be in the perspective of Kai's backstory. I'm just gonna tell you what happened in his fucking backstory, all right? So basically, Kai was like pseudo self-sufficient for a minute, right? From a very young age. But obviously he couldn't get a job. He just wasn't getting taken care of and had to take care of himself. The people in his family, because he had siblings, they had like rotationist quirks, right? Ish. They used it for different things. He can only rotate air, pretty much, right? He don't got a wind quirk or an air quirk. He just rotates things. His family just rotates things. He can rotate air. That's about it. His family like that shit ass, and you trash. He wanted to be a hero. They obviously said, nigga, you can't do that shit. And they was also just not taking care of him. They just didn't give a fuck. Not about him, not for real, right? They continued to take care of the other kids, but he had to be self-sufficient and shit, right? He was just happy he had a roof over his head for a while, because eventually freak accidents happen. His parents died. Not his whole family. His parents died. Obviously, the kids were split up apart, right? Different family members, aunts, uncles, grandpas, all this other shit, right? He just so happened to hit a family member that wasn't going to tolerate him being ass or having a trash quirk. So he kicked him out into the street, right? Obviously that family member has Kai's other siblings, but he didn't want Kai. Kai was on the street for a while, stealing maybe. Yeah, he was stealing maybe. He was trying to get some money, get some food, get some water, because he wasn't trying to die out there on the streets. And he did that shit for a minute, right? He did that shit for up until he got found by the orphanage. I would say he probably got found by the orphanage about shit maybe 12. He was probably kicked out of his house at 8 or 9. So about 3 years or some shit. He was on the street. Yeah, he got found by the orphanage. They took him in, gave him good food, gave him good water. That's why he's still here. And Kai, being the dumbass that he is, was going to continue to talk about how, it may not be the best place, kids going. And before he continued talking, yeah, Madison stand up was like, who the fuck told you to say anything about that? Right? And Kai, Izuku like, oh shit, what? Kai like, oh yeah, right. I'm so sorry. I was not trying to just start talking. I wasn't thinking. She's like, yeah, you always talking without thinking. This is why you stay in trouble now. Stop talking. He's like, shit. I mean, I just wanted to tell him my story. And Izuku, he finished eating, right? He like, I want to know what he had to say. I wanted to know what he wanted to say too. And she's like, you don't get to know. We're not necessarily supposed to know. It was like, so I can't know even though you're not supposed to know? What's one more person knowing the secret, especially one more person that's not going to stay here? What's that going to affect? And before Madeline, before Madison, I'm gonna just call her Madison. Madeline. I'm gonna keep forgetting. I'm gonna just call her Madison. Before she could respond, Kai's like, yeah, actually, what is the reason for me to not tell her? I mean, he's not even staying here anyway, right? He was like, because nobody's supposed to know in the first place, Kai. The only reason why I told you is because you kept bothering me with your bullshit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Kai not giving up. I'm trying to make it intently clear that Kai is a little bit dumb, just a little bit stupid, and that's okay. You need those, and Kai's like, well, he isn't anybody in this situation that we have. A third party perspective could open some light onto the situation. We could at the very least get his opinion about it. And she's like, what if he leaves and then everything's fucked over because of it? And it's like, yes, I understand, right? And I'm perfectly fine with the status quo. At the same time, we're not satisfied with the situation. We don't want it to be the way it is. What if he could help? What, with his strength quirk? He gonna help with that, Kai? Is he gonna use his strength to stop all the terrible in the world? He gonna be a hero like you wanted to be? And Kai's like, first of all, I lied about that. I think he's quirkless. Second of all, she's like, he's quirkless, Kai? You gonna tell this quirkless nobody that? She's like, yeah, he's quirkless, Kai. That shit crazy. He's quirkless, Kai. That shit is wild, bro. Anyway, Izuku stand up quick, right? I automatically lock her attention onto him, and he doesn't touch her, but he is moving quick to her. She quickly backing away. He slammed his hand against the wall because he ain't trying to cause up no more commotion for staff to come in, especially now. And he says, "Are you saying I'm of no use because I'm quirkless?" And the look in this man's eyes, right? It's like it's a different look to what Kai got when Izuku got mad at him, right? Kai actually being fucking stupid. Now, Kai actually Move close, right? Look him in the eyes. It's like, yeah, that's a different look than what he gave me, but you can feel it, right? You feel it. He may be quirkless, maybe. He may be quirkless, maybe. He may be quirkless, maybe, but he got some fire, some real fight. That's why I stood up for him. Because I didn't want to just because it wasn't making sense before the situation, right? But now I can see it. When he hit me up against that closet, I understood there's something he's willing to die for right now. I'm not saying that he'll be able to help us 100% thoroughly and everything will be great, but I am saying we could get his perspective on it. And Madison, she look at him, right? She looked back at Izuku, who's calmed down a little bit since his first initial response to what she said. And she like, all right, do you think you could help? And Izuku, he take that as a challenge. He's like, there's nothing I can't do. He's like, all right, I'm gonna hold you to that. And she explained the situation to him. Basically, the orphanage isn't a good orphanage, right? That's basically what the situation is. It doesn't happen often. Every month or so, they get new kids, or they'll either get new kids or they'll send kids out. Now while they're here, these kids aren't like they're not treated bad or nothing. It's just kids getting they prepared in quotations, right? Like these niggas they get fed every day, food, water, roof over their head, like what's his name was saying. And it feels like, right, ones with certain abilities get they get passed through. It just out of nowhere, random kids gone. The staff over here talking about they got adopted and shit. No parents come here. Nobody is looking at any of these. No potential parent people are here looking at these children. So the adoption process is where some of the older kids, are like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? Now as Madison is, she explaining the situation, right? She says that there's a couple that do know about what's going on. And the couple that do know what's going on, for one, some of them aren't on the list to be sent off. And two, they've already been threatened on some, like, if you try to send me off, I'll crash out, basically. And when I crash out, everybody gonna know about this operation. You're gonna have to stop anyway, basically, right? Everybody gonna know about what's going on here, and you're gonna have to stop anyway, so you might as well just let me stay. Madison's on that list. She was the first person to do this. All right, I'm just letting y'all know that Madison was the first person to find out and the first person to threaten them about the situation. Kai, specifically, since he's also in this room, it's just somebody they can't get rid of. He's just somebody who don't nobody want that nigga. Don't, whatever these people are taking these children for with specific quirks, right? Don't know. They don't want him specifically. That's a trash ass quirk as far as they consider. Now, obviously, Izuku, he curious, right? He know about Kai quirk. She said she the first, she the first one to crash out. Well, she didn't say that to him, right? But with the knowledge of them selling kids off with specific powers, right? He want to know hers. Obviously, because she don't trust this nigga in the slightest. She not gonna tell that nigga. Yeah, that's none of his business as far as she considered. He still gotta follow through on his situation with his quote unquote strength quirk. They kinda at odds, but they also like mutual respect for the situation, right? She gonna let him have this information. He can do what he will. Obviously, once they find out that he's quirkless anyway, they gonna get rid of him. No reason to have a quirkless person here, right? It's not like they give a fuck about these kids anyway. And Yeah. She also not gonna tell him about who else knows about the situation because she don't trust him. Like I said, Kai trusts him though. So Kai decides he gonna show Izuku around the orphanage. It's not a big orphanage, but it's got a decent size, right? It's for sure not orphanage you would expect to see out in the hood, in the ghetto. This is it's not by any means. It don't look like they having a problem paying any of the bills. You feel me? Like they got like a upstairs, a downstairs, right? The main little foyer area. You know, you could look over the railing and see the kids playing down there and stuff, right? You know, they got the kitchen, right? They got all different rooms for the kids, right? Some on the first floor and some on the second floor. It's not a third floor, but two floors though, right? A lot of young kids, right? A lot of like adolescent, 4 years old, around that age, basically when they get quirks. So like 3 to 5, 3 to 6. There's some older, right? Probably the ones that didn't make it or aren't or haven't been decided upon, and if they gonna get, you know, sold or not. Like they got a nurse, a quote unquote nurse office, right? That's where they keep all the medical stuff at. They got a shower room. You gotta be clean and shit. Obviously, mm, washing machines, everything. It's seeming pretty. These people seeming pretty well off for themselves. Zuko don't respect it because you know why, but I mean, it's benefits. Can't be mad at the benefits. The staff out here, they talking to him about this, that, and the third, about up and down, about sides to sides and this bit. No, I'm joking. But you feel me? Everywhere he go, they explaining and they trying to sell it to him about how it's a good spot for him and all this other stuff, right? They also want to, they want to get to know him more so that he could tell him more about his quirk, how it works and all that. Obviously Izuku don't got a quirk and he not gonna lie unnecessarily right now. Right now they're trying their hardest to, close the distance with him. He don't need to just give off information for no reason right now. Eventually, since it was already nighttime, lights off, lights out, everybody get to sleep. We done for the day, right? Staff going home, kitchen getting locked up and all that. The only person that gotta stay over that Izuku notices the main woman that's there. The headmaster woman person. The one running the operation, basically. And she only there for a minute or two. Right. She's not there for a long, long time. She's up there doing some paperwork. She might be up there for like 30 minutes. 20 or 30 minutes for real. And then she gonna go home. Izuku was paying attention. He peeping game, he locking in, right? Kai allows Izuku to share his room since he been with the nigga all day, right? And Zuku ain't got no other reason to not, right? So he go up in there, right? And Kai like, how you messing with it? What's going on, man? Like, you see throughout the orphanage, you like it's better than being on the street, right? It's like he like, yeah, it's better than being on the street. But I mean, I am still gonna do what I said I was gonna do. And he's like, well, yeah, but like I said, it's better than being on the street if you are going to do something about the situation. I hope we would still be able to be here. Zuko starts thinking about that, right? And then he really started thinking about it, Like, he could have an opportunity here, right? One that he wouldn't have by himself at the very least. I mean, he also got to take one step at a time, We don't know anything until he finished the job in a way that satisfies everybody, technically. especially himself though. So yeah, right. Kai and Izuku, they talk a little bit more, especially in comparison to how Izuku was talking to him previously. There's two beds in there, so I mean, Izuku gonna finally get himself a bed to sleep in. Kai tells Izuku basically, right, like he doesn't mind what happens, right, because he understands what's going on here is wrong, but at the same time, he would just hope that if there was a way to, still be here without having such a threat around, he feels like he would be the most grateful for that. Obviously, little pieces of whatever the fuck this nigga Kai want is getting seeped into Izuku's head. And Izuku's like, Izuku don't respond. And he going to sleep. Next day, right? Well, this night, Izuku, obviously he getting all kinds of terrors, right? All kinds of sad situations in his dreams, right? His mom, seeing his mom again, her disappearing in his sight, hearing all these different voices of all the different people that's ever disrespected him in his life, haunting him in a dream, right? His teacher, his last teacher, talking to him about some bullshit. You feel me? A whole lot. Just a whole lot of fuckery in this nigga dream. He having a terrible night's sleep. And, he think he hears something, something like that was different from all that, way off in the distance. And before he can even go investigate, he wake up. You feel me? He just wake up. Still upset because he had to deal with all this, but, you know what it is. Kai woke him up. Madison here. They all go. There's most of the children are still asleep. The actual children are still asleep. But some of the ones that are like, that know their situation, they up and about. They not here, but they up and about. As Izuku is walking around, he's seeing a couple people staring at him. Madison probably told him about what happened, right? Madison probably told them about what Izuku was planning on doing, right? She don't know what the plan is, but they had a conversation, obviously, and she would have told the rest of the people that did know about their situation. Some of them don't, but a lot of them do. Well, a lot of them don't. Some of them do. Either way, Izuku feel like he need a lot more information than he currently has, and the staff just got here, so he gonna have to sneak his way into some situations, right? And that's what he spends the day doing, right? He looking around, seeing the staff move, right? Seeing what they begin to do and all that, right? As the staff get closer, right, the actual kids that are staring at Izuku begin to go do other things because, come on now, you can't fuck up the plan. You can't fuck up the plan. And yeah, he also knows. So Izuku right now is in a position where he knows he don't got no help still. Yeah, everybody wants something in this situation. Not only is he a regular person, he also don't got enough information. And the only motherfucker here that'll probably try to help him is Kai. So before Kai leave off of Madison, Izuku grab him right by the shoulder. It was like, hey, I need you to do something. You feel me? It's like, Kai looking back and forth with Madison and Izuku. Madison looked through Kai at Izuku like, nigga, you fucking up the whole play. Don't say anything, but you feel me? It's all eye contact shit. Izuku looking at her like, nigga, I could say the same. Basically on some like, move, bitch. You feel me? Madison like, she saw. She let that motherfucker do what he gonna do. Kai get dragged off somewhere. As he dragging Kai around, right, away from Madison and them niggas, Kai obviously got questions. You feel me? He not very smart. He ain't picking up with Izuku, but now he's like, why are you dragging me around, bro? What are we doing? We could have. Well, I thought you was gonna work alone on this shit. You feel me? Izuku like, do I look like the type of guy that can work alone on this shit? If you want this shit done the way you said you wanted it done last night, I'm gonna need some help type shit, And Kai, he look at himself like, damn, does he really think I can help him? As Kai is, thinking about how rare this situation is for him, Izuku, he looking around, he looking at the staff, he trying to see what's going on. Staff kind of looking at him a little bit, but he feel like he can sneak past him. He feels like he can maneuver in a way that's not in their line of sight, basically. And the head person that's normally here, well, the head person that's like the leader of all the other staff, right, isn't here yet. So so right now he feel like he got limited time. Izuku, walking around, or in the upstairs area, basically dragging Kai around all over the place, telling him to quote unquote introduce me to blah blah blah. Right? He don't really want to be introduced to nobody. Right? He just needs to make his way onto where the actual the headmaster is, basically. Right? Or the headmaster office is. As he get to the office door, he realized that motherfucker locked. Obviously, my nigga. But yeah, it's locked. He don't want to just break into it. Obviously. I mean, he the newest one here. Somebody gonna suspect it. He look at Kai. Kai look at him. It's like, somebody that can unlock this. Kai like, well, I mean, I think I can go find somebody, maybe, But I mean, I don't know why we gotta get into the office anyway. It's like, hurry up and go get the person that can unlock this before we lose the opportunity to get in here without being seen. And he was like, you know what? You got it, man. I'll be right back. Now Izuku gotta go do other things. Now he gotta distract himself and make it not obvious that he's trying to get in this room that he's obviously trying to get into. So as Kai runs off into areas that Izuku don't know about or just can't see, Izuku, obviously, he looking around quick. He like, shit, I gotta find somebody to talk to so I don't look suspicious. While he's looking around, Izuku hear a voice from from his left. It's one of the people that he was in quotations trying to get introduced to. And he was like, because he on his shot shit. So it was like, Izuku damn near forgot he was there or following. So, this dude, he be wearing, he got a mask on and all that, right? Some, these masks, the same kind of mask, similar kind of mask to the white hair girl I was talking about. He got dark hair, dark eyes. He don't stand out much. He started talking to Izuku about why are we trying to get into the headmaster's office. Izuku looked back at him like, oh shit, I forgot you was here. Oh shit. Yeah, come over here real quick. Like, yeah. So he gets more invested with the conversation, for just to throw it off, just to make it seem like he ain't trying to get into this room that he's obviously trying to get into. And in doing so, he actually explains what his thought process is for getting into this office. And dude's like, oh, that's all you wanted to do? It was like, yeah. I just wanted to gather information about the people that was here, maybe find out who we getting sold to, who we buying from, these kids, obviously, and how we can still stay here if we get rid of all the people that's selling us. I just do, he started thinking about it, and he was like, I think I could find out on my computer in my room. And Izuku's like, because Izuku don't really know this nigga. He don't know who this is at all, for real. So he's like, well, you can go ahead and try to figure that out, man. I'm gonna need you to stay here until Kai come back, but I'm gonna be doing this as well, He's like, oh, okay. Thanks. It's like, thanks for what? It's like, you're kind of helping us a lot here. I know Addison was really worried about what they might do to the kids that already knew about what was going on. So you're really getting us out of a bad situation, which it's putting Izuku into a different mental state again. He now before, right, it was, it was always rejection on everybody else's part. Now it's acceptance on at the very least one person's part. That's all he's ever asked for. All he ever wanted was one person's acceptance. Before he can even really think about that too much, Kai comes back with some new girl, blonde haired girl, blue eyes. She kind of like scruffy though, right? Like a tomboyish character, right? She show up with like a torn up jacket with the hood over her head, over her face, and all that, right? She walk over like full confidence over to the door, and as she get over there, Zuku looking at him, look like he like, you can unlock this, right? And she looked at him and was like, shut the fuck up. I'll do what I have to, dumbass. It's like, Zuku, he don't know this person, right? This person obviously don't know him, but he's had worse, so he can't be too mad at it. But damn, nigga, she just damn near instantaneously she unlocked the door, right? Now Izuku wonder what her quirk is, but he don't ask her because he know he's gonna find out soon anyway. As soon as she unlocked the door, she leave. No other words needed. Kai's like, that's Amelia. She kind of, that's she's not, and Izuku, he's like, I don't care. Make sure that nobody knows that I'm in here real quick, and tell her when I'm done to come back and lock the door. And he was like, and Kai, he started looking nervous because he know this motherfucker will get on his ass. He knows she'll get on his ass quick for no reason. So it's like, damn, he looked over like, hey, where the fuck did, now he alone because the other nigga left. He went back to his room as soon as Kai showed up. This nigga Izuku just left. He done closed the door back. It's like, fuck, and I can't even pass this on to nobody. All right. But yeah, Kai go do what he was told to do. Izuku up in the room now. Izuku up in the room. It's getting serious. It's getting dicey. It's getting spectacular. Not really. It's a pretty easy mission. He just want to get some information, right? First off, he looked through all the cabinets and stuff. He find the records of a whole bunch of children. He gonna need those. Names, quirks. Before anything, right? He already know Kai quirk. He want to know some of these other niggas' quirks. Come on now, right? Madison specifically, because he was just looking through them, right? He was also trying to find that other girl. What's her name? Amelia. See what that quirk was. But he also ain't got time all the way. You feel me? So you need to get up in here, get up out of here respectfully. So he find Madison quirk. It seemed like a strong quirk, right? It seemed like a strong quirk, which is why he kind of confused why she here. He also don't want to go into the information, right? That was provided in the context of the records. He just looking at quirks. The quirk is like I guess I would you would call it a life exchange. It's not. I'll explain it later. Either way, he stacked all the papers back up, try to get them organized. He put them back. He didn't find $1 million. He ain't going to keep looking for it. He'll find it eventually. Now he get into these staff, right? He looking for the information that he was talking about previously. He's trying to find out where these kids are coming from, where these kids are going. He's seeing a couple different names, right? He don't know where they're coming from necessarily, right? Other than them kind of seemingly possibly working with the police. He ain't no hard evidence there for that shit. So he can only make an assumption of that. And it seems like they kind of going into one direction of the dark world of the, the villain society. You feel me? He don't really know who it is, right? Got initials KS. You know what that is. He would assume it's somebody's name, but he don't know what's going on. So yeah, he got a lot of information, kinda, at the very least enough to stop it. He feels like he can win this. He feels like he can win this. So obviously, with all these cards on the table, all these pieces in the row, he looking at this, from a higher point of view, low key. He thinks he almost has everything he needs in order to win, right? He almost has everything. He doesn't think he has everything he needs now, but he almost has everything he needs to get rid of everybody, to get rid of all the people that he wants to get rid of. That being said, knocks happening on the door, right? He didn't tell anybody to knock if people was coming, but he is gonna take that as it's time to go, basically. So he puts all the stuff back, leaves the room. Amelia's there. She locks the door. Somehow, he still don't know how. That's fine. He continues about his day, going through the motions, right? Keeping an eye on the staff, watching their movements, watching their routes, because they got so many kids here, right? They make constant store runs, right? Like they got a lot of the necessities, but they need to they damn near go every day, right? Something's always missing around here. So they send Kai. You feel me? They send Kai to go, pick up some, this, and the third from a store close by. And while deciding who they was gonna send, like who else they was gonna send with them, Kai was like, "Hey, can I take a Zuku?" They look at him. They look at Zuku. Zuku don't seem like he care. Them niggas walk, so they send a Zuku with him. Yeah. So Zuko and him, they get a little store. Kai extra happy for whatever reason. Zuko, he more focused. He thinking about the plan, thinking about what he needs and how he going. Cause he feel like he has everything he needs to take them niggas out. It's the after effect that he wants. He wants to. If he was gonna stay there, he's gonna need more than what he has, right? Kai is not worried about none of that shit at all. He's just having fun talking to Izuku. And they kind of like the relationship, right? Like it's as Kai is damn near forcing him to stop thinking about whatever the fuck he was thinking about to talk to him, right? And Izuku's like, "Yo, what the fuck? I'm trying to plan, right? I'm still in the planning phase of the and he was like, "Yeah, but we out now, right? You see the sun, you see you feel the wind. We don't have to think about that right now. We can, at the very least, not the entire time. We can chill a little bit." It was like, bruh, Kai is not one for serious all the time activities, right? And the more Kai continues to talk, the more Zuko's like, "All right, let me talk to this nigga," and they keep talking. They get to the stove. They get the groceries and stuff, pushing the buggy back and all that, right? Because they got a lot of stuff this time. And Zuko, he kind of lightened up. He stopped thinking about the plan. He started talking to these niggas regularly. It was like like this was normal. It was almost a regular day for him. All of a sudden, Zuko, he started feeling like he watched or something, like he started, looking around behind his shoulders and shit, Maybe it's the instincts, maybe it's from being on the street for 3 days, no food, no water, right? And, he has been growing up with niggas watching him and shit, ready to pick on him all throughout the school year. None of that shit went away. You know, he started looking around. Kai like, yo, you good? You know, 'cause they was just talking on some regular shit. It was like, yeah, let's hit the left right here. Let's hit the left right here, right? He was like, but that's he was like, yeah, I know. So they hit that left into an alleyway, closed off too. You know, Izuku mindset, they just gonna jump whoever the fuck following them, right? If there's somebody following them, he could be wrong. So they get down there, hiding. You know, Izuku grabs some pipe from the that was left down there, right? You know, they waiting for a nigga to hit the corner and shit. You know, Kai, he close by, so he whispering and shit. He's like, what we waiting on, bro? You know? It's like I thought I felt like somebody was watching us. It was like, damn. You think there's somebody watching? You think they coming down right now? It's like, yeah, and say, I don't know, but we gotta keep it. You know, I ain't trying to get robbed. You feel me? This is a bad neighborhood. You feel me? It could have just been, you know, regular. He also just wouldn't want anybody to, especially if the circumstance is to, you know, take, you know, is to allow these kids to still be at the orphanage. If he was gonna get rid of the staff, and then a whole nother person shows up, that would ruin the plan for him, right? So he feel like he need to, you know, keep it. He want to deal with it now, right? And as Kai and him going back and forth about this, you know, Izuku started thinking about him like, oh, yeah, this like one of the only people that's like been down with me, right? Because Kai, that nigga ready. He don't go. He like bet. You know, they watching, right? And it's like, damn, it's one of the few people that I've ever had in my life that was really down for me like this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, they hear from the background some girl voice, right, behind them, because they're not in the back of the alley. They just been watching the front. And she like, who are we waiting on? And both Kai and Izuku, they turn around about to, they about to swing on this motherfucker. She jumped back, like, started laughing and shit. It was like, oh, I wanted to be a part of it too, guys. And, you know, Kai like, a girl? Izuku, he hear that tone of voice, but all he feeling is straight bloodlust, man. He don't go, he know this nigga is out here to kill him. He know it. He pointed the pipe up. He like, what do you want with us? You know? And she's like, what do I want? I was wondering, would you be my boyfriend? And it's like, oh, what the fuck? You know, it's like, you know, Zuzu kind of like, you know, they look at each other like, what the fuck? And Zuku, like, he ain't lowering the pipe, he keeping the pipe up, but he like, you know, he bringing more into a defensive position. He like, who are you? She's like, I'm Himiko Toga. Once she say her name, she down there charge at his ass. You feel me? Full sprint jump, trying to hit her ass with the knives and shit. Talking about, and I know you will look great covered in blood. Honestly, I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna have to end it there. Respectfully. You know, we gotta hit that cliffhanger. You know we gotta hit that cliffhanger on them. Ha ha. How we feeling about them cliffhangers? Respectfully. Anyway. Y'all don't know this, but I've been doing this for days anyway. If I were to recap now a little bit, right? Zuku, even though he done lost everything and chose the path of a crash out, seems to have gained friends. How is this going to affect him on his villain journey? You know, obviously, we done introduced Toga extra early into the story. How do y'all feel about that? You know, I don't care. Are y'all, you know, willing? Are y'all able to guess some of these powers? I wonder, because you know, I got these quote unquote people or powers from different medias, so that's pretty much what it's going to be for most of the characters so far. Besides two characters specifically, they're who I base them on isn't what they quirk says yet. but we'll get there. Y'all just gotta believe. Believe in the me that believes in me, that also believes in you. I'm gonna stop recording now.